feeling big emotions like crying or wanting to rage, and you feel like it's endless and never stops, or you're afraid to feel them because you'll feel like they'll be endless and never stop. But what is if you actually never felt the emotion? Because what most people experience is the overwhelm, the guilt, the shame, the judgment over having the emotion. So you don't need more emotional control. What you need is to be able to feel it inside, to feel safe enough to feel the emotion and the sensations in your body. I'm Naomi Galinsky. I'm a somatic trauma therapist and nervous system educator. I help high-functioning women who are stuck in burnout, overwhelm, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and other chronic illnesses regulate their nervous system so that they can reclaim their lives. If you've been following me, welcome back. If you're new to this channel, great. Lucky to have you here. In this video, I'm talking about emotional regulation from the somatic perspective. So this is not about managing the emotions or controlling it through the mind. This is about what it really takes to feel your body, feel the emotions in your body without being overwhelmed. I will walk you through how to use your body and somatic experiencing principles. So somatic experiencing was founded by Peter Levine. It's a nervous system based trauma healing modality. And so how to use that, and not your critical thinking and analytical mind, but your body to regulate your nervous system and therefore regulate your emotions. Your emotions aren't too much. You're not too much. But what's happening is that you're fearing that it's going to be too much. And so the loop that we get stuck in is an emotion wells up, then we fear that it's welling up. We don't know how to be with it. So our body braces. Then we either get overwhelmed because now the emotion is stuck in our body. It wants to move through, but we're not letting it. We get overwhelmed. We maybe shut down and we disconnect. And maybe we feel better after a while, but then the emotion will come back at another time, and it might come back even stronger, and it keeps getting stronger. I once had a client who was crying about crying. Instead of feeling the guilt and the sadness that was in the body, that was triggering the crying, she didn't want to cry. So she was crying because she didn't want to cry. But in session, when we let go of that top layer of judging and shaming ourselves for crying, and when I helped her to just drop in with the emotion that was in the body in the here and now, and when we connected to the grief, that's when things started to shift, because now that emotion, that energy was able to bubble up and move through. Most people aren't able to be with and feel their emotions, and they're afraid of it because they don't have the capacity to feel them. What do I mean by capacity? Capacity, in this case, the body's capacity is to be able to be a witness to the strong sensations that might be coming up, to the emotions, to allow the nervous system to experience these sensations and the emotions without feeling overwhelmed or shutting down or disconnecting. And that process, to get there, we need to build that capacity. How do we do that? We start by feeling small amounts of those sensations, to connect with neutral or pleasant sensations, which are easier to feel and connect with than the unpleasant ones, than the unpleasant emotions and the tightness and the heaviness and whatever comes with that. So connecting to a neutral part of the body, or connecting to a resource that feels pleasurable, like a cup of tea and feeling the warmth in your hand. And as you taste it, like feeling how the body responds to that taste, that pleasantness that goes to the body. We can build capacity to be in our body and feel by connecting to these things that are neutral or pleasant. And when we feel overwhelmed, it might be difficult to just immediately find a neutral or pleasant sensation. And that's when we bring in resourcing. That's a somatic experiencing principle of doing something to help your body downregulate and settle. For example, there are many different types of resources, but I'll give you 3 examples. One is orienting. Connecting to the here and now, looking around your room or where you are, the space you're in, but not from a place of hypervigilance and focus, but just connecting with the here and now and what's around you. That helps your nervous system know you're here in the now, and not your awareness isn't in your mind that is ruminating about the past or the future, because that's where anxiety and stress starts and pings around in our body. So connecting to the here and now, orienting. We can orient to sound as well. Another resource of coming back to our body in a grounded or neutral, even pleasant way might be grounding. So the second one is grounding. So feeling the connection with your feet on the ground, or if you're sitting down, the connection between your body and the chair, or if you're lying, your whole body lying on the mattress or couch. And just sensing the connection. Again, you're coming back to the here and now. You're coming back into your body in a way that's not overwhelming. And the third one is a butterfly hug. So maybe this one is the one that helps you come from a high anxiety, high stress state. Or maybe you're burnt out and you're checked out of your body and not connected. And this one is where you cross your arms. So one hand crosses over to the other arm and vice versa. And this is nice because your arm is crossing the heart. So you're connecting to this space as well. And you first feel the connection between your hands and your arms. And then you slowly just begin to tap left and right. And you just wait and you slow down the tapping to help calm down your nervous system, calm down or downregulate your nervous system so that you can make choices and move through the next part of your day from a more regulated state. And if these resources don't work and you're still stuck in your mind and the anxiety doesn't go away and your emotions are really big, then we might have to start with doing some cognitive stuff of looking around and naming the objects around you. A gray couch, a brown side table, a candle, and so forth. And you can name everything around you that's blue, for example, or everything that starts with the letter A. And you just do a short circuit in your mind, and instead of it being stuck in a loop, you give the mind another task to do. So when you get really overwhelmed, that can be a good resource to try out. Titration. That's the next somatic experiencing principle that I want to talk about to help you feel the emotions, connect with them when you're overwhelmed. And titrating means not going in all the way and diving all the way into the emotion, because that might overwhelm you. And in fact, that's why you're scared to feel it, right, in the first place. So Peter Levine coined this term titration from an example in chemistry. And if you have, I can't remember what the chemical compound is, but if you have something that's very basic as in like from the pH level, it's a base, and you have something that's highly acidic, both of them on its own, they will burn your skin if you touch it. If you combine them both at the same time, then there will be an explosion. But in a chemistry, in a lab setting, if you, let's say, have the base in a beacon and then slowly drop the acid solution into the base, what happens is that when the base and the acid come together in this titrated way, they form a salt and water. At least for those two chemical compounds that he wrote in the book. It formed into salt and water, but you'll get water. So that's what we want to do at the nervous system level as well. We want to titrate our experience, feel drops of, especially at the beginning, feel drops of the difficult emotion, and then resource and come out and do something different, and then go back in and feel a little bit more. And that has the effect of neutralizing that emotion. So how does that look practically? Let's say you're raging about something and you can't get that rage loop out of your head. And titrating could look like, okay, so there's this rage. What is if we just feel the outside of the rage? We don't go all the way in. We just feel the hint of the rage, just 5%. And believe me, when we start doing that, you will learn to be able to modulate how much of the sensation you want to feel. You can do the same with grief. We go in and just touch the surface, feel it a little bit, and then come out. And what you might find is there might be a little bit of tension or queasiness. With anger, there might be a sense of fire or tightness in your belly. And you feel it in a way that feels manageable. That's titration. And once your capacity builds to feel these emotions, then you learn, actually you still learn that in the titration phase, but you're also learning how to ride the activation, the sensations of that emotion, and it will peak. If this is within your ability to hold and feel the emotion without getting overwhelmed, then it will peak. And guess what? When it peaks, it will also come down. It will discharge. And so the problem is when the peak is above our window of tolerance. That's a psychotherapy term, but let's say this is the amount you can feel without feeling overwhelmed. If that peak is above that, then it's not therapeutic anymore. But if you're allowing yourself to feel enough and it's above that threshold where you're overwhelmed, then it peaks and you let it discharge. And that's when it starts leaving the body. Which takes me to another point, integration. That's when we learn to ride the discharge and learn to feel as the body is settling. And learn to feel like, oh, so I felt like this intense emotion, but now my breathing is opening, my body is relaxing, maybe my belly feels more open. And you learn to be with that. Because if we don't stay with that discharge settling in the integration part of the process, then we're just releasing and then we're not ending the process. And that's what I see in like cathartic processes where like people are like, ah, like letting out the emotion. But the integration part is missing. So they're like releasing, but they're not letting the nervous system settle and reorganize and allow the opening to happen, which is where we want to get to. And the nervous system rewires in the complete activation, deactivation cycle, plus the integration to ride the whole wave and allow the body to rest and relax, to reorganize itself, to reset. Actually, resetting isn't a great word. My teacher, Irene Lyon, hates the word nervous system reset because there is no such thing as resetting the nervous system. We can rewire it. It changes, but it takes time. And this brings me to my last point of that nervous system rewiring takes consistency and time. The repatterning of our nervous system requires being slow, consistent, feeling safe as we do that, like nervous system safety, and helping our system over and over rewire so that this new pattern, this new way of living gets to establish. The key to emotional resilience isn't about just having these big breakthroughs and cathartic emotional releases or never having emotions again. No, it's about having that consistent practice, showing up again and again, and learning how to be with whatever shows up without getting overwhelmed or shutting down. To trust in yourself that whatever comes, you can handle it. That is resilience. That's where we want to work towards. And that allows you to feel strong in life. You can hit challenges face on. And life is stressful. Life is painful. Life will throw curveballs at you and become difficult. And how can you rewire your nervous system enough that when that happens, you're like, I've got this. I know how to feel this. I know how to be with this. I know how to ride the waves. I know how to titrate it if it's too big for me, but I know how to release it from my body. And I know what practices to do. If this video helped you reframe your thoughts on emotions, emotional releases, then hit a like or subscribe to my channel. This will help other people find it. And leave a comment if something resonated with you. And if you're ready to go deeper, then check out my 6-month container, The Nervous System Sanctuary. It's a grounded somatic approach for emotional and nervous system regulation based on the principles I talked about in this video. And check out the details in the link in the descriptions.